Preparedness isn't just stuff, it's action.
This last week, John's dad had surgery, and one of his comfort foods is chili.
My chili's been a family favorite for years.
But we've never canned it. So we're going to see if we can turn a family favorite into a shelf-stable meal.
Hopefully.
So we have kind of been all over the place with this. I'm pretty picky about what recipes I choose to can. I am not a rebel canner. We kind of ran into some problems with John's normal recipe of using canned beans. We found 2 approved recipes that we're actually kind of combining because one doesn't have beans in it and then one doesn't have the spice profile that you use.
Yeah,
but
so
the other does. So we're kind of combining 2 safe recipes or referencing 2 safe
It's a hybrid recipe.
Yeah.
My original recipe is pretty close to the one in the ball book, but it doesn't have beans. It's just chili.
In this ball book.
And it has a recipe with beans, so it showed us how to handle the beans. And so we're using the how to do the beans from that, but we're using my actual spice profile for the recipe.
Which is similar to the ball.
First, we cook the meat. Normally, if I'm not going to preserve it, I use half and half with sausage just to give it a little bit better profile, a flavor profile. But with canning, sausage has a lot of fat, and so you want to keep the fat down with the canning. So we're just going to use straight beef. Normally I use an 80-20. This is an 85. 3 pounds of meat. And I do it all in one pot. And I checked it to make sure it was 100% beef, not cultured or cell whatever junk. One thing that I do that's not necessarily in my recipe when I give it out, some spilling secrets here, is I cook the onions and I use fresh minced garlic, not dried garlic. I cook all that in with the meat along with a little bit of chili powder and salt while it's cooking. I have done one in the past with a chili recipe if you want to see how we actually do it. I also use dried onions instead of fresh. The cool thing about this recipe is it's perfect for a prepper pantry because everything except for the meat comes out of our pantry. Canned beans, normally if we're not canning it, canned tomatoes, dried onions. This would be the only thing that would be this not necessarily for long-term storage, although we do have some of these down there, but dried works just as well. And then all your spices. I don't measure my onions. I don't really measure, I just do like half a metric ton of garlic.
And one of the key differences for canning it is that the consistency has to be thinner than what we normally eat it because it thickens up as it processes in the canning. We may need to add water or broth to it to thin it.
One thing I did this time I forgot is I put the dried onions in before I started softening the meat. So it's probably gonna taste like butt, but
no, it's not.
Sprinkle a little bit of chili powder in on the meat. Tiny bit of black pepper and then a little bit of salt. I'm going to show you how I drain the grease off of my hamburger. If I just take, so you don't put it down the sink, it will clog it, ruin your sewer. I don't care what they say about hot water and soap. Don't do that. Don't put it in a glass jar, it will crack it because it's hot. Put it in a plastic cup, it will melt it. This is what we do. We take some tin foil, we put it in a bowl. This is a strainer, but we put it in a bowl. This catch all the grease, and then when it solidifies, we fold it up and put it in the garbage can. Easy peasy. Now that we got the grease drained out of it, normally I don't drain the grease. It's just part of the flavor profile. But like I said, you got to drain that out when you're canning. Then you add all the tomatoes and stuff, correct? So it's 2 quarts of tomatoes or 4 cans. These ones have some bell peppers in them. Now I normally don't put bell peppers in my chili because my daughter's allergic to bell peppers. So the only time we have any kind of peppers in the house is when it's sealed in a can like this. We know not to use it when we're preparing for her, but my dad likes peppers, so we're using this today, and it's juice and all. I got the pop tops. Now, because these don't have a lot of juice in them, I add tomato sauce to it. And I usually will add tomato paste, but we're told don't use the paste because we want it a little runnier.
They don't want any kind of thickeners. They didn't say you couldn't use paste, but you don't want to use any kind of thickeners, flour, cornstarch, anything like that, because that can affect the way that it cans as far as being safe or not.
There just wasn't a lot of liquid in with those tomatoes, so I want to add some more liquid. I may end up adding some bone broth to it or something if it's not thick enough.
Not thin enough.
Not thin enough. Now we're on to the spices. So my recipe, when I say the spices out loud, it sounds kind of scary because there's a lot of pepper in it. I use 2.5 tablespoons dark chili powder. You can use whatever chili powder you like. Typically, I don't even measure, I just pour. And it can be heaping, it doesn't have to be, whatever. I use a tablespoon of black pepper. I was a tablespoon and a half for a long time, but we found a tablespoon's the right amount.
Spot.
Now, because the beans are normally in my recipe, I don't drain anything, but because the beans are drained, we are going to have to add more liquid to it, especially after just looking at it. So I'm going to put three teaspoons of Celtic salt in here just to add flavor. A lot of times I forget the salt, and that's the magic ingredient. And you will see, we may have to add quite a bit of liquid. Because my dad had surgery on his back, he needs the collagen and everything that bone broth provides. So we're going to use that in this for liquid because there's not enough. And we did a video on this too, if you want to see that. This is concentrated, so I'll add water to it also. So now it's the perfect consistency if I was just going to serve it to you, but we need it a little runnier, so I'm going to add some water. Okay, that looks perfect right there. It's hard to get that flavor profile right if you're going to put it in a can, because the recipe, you have to let those flavors meld for like an hour. Well, you can't do that with this. It's 5 minutes, so you got to get as close as you can without
overcooking
it or overspicing it.
Because it's got to process in the canner for 75 minutes, so continue cooking there.
Because I added more meat than I normally do, it's really meaty, which I like, but I think it'll be fine though. It tastes really good. Which is not my chili.
Okay, you'll notice we switched places now. John does the cooking. I typically do the canning. My Presto electric pressure canner here, it automatically adjusts for elevation, which I love. I don't have to sit here and babysit it. I just have to cycle it through the steps. We've got jars in the oven, making sure that they're good and hot, because you want to make sure hot product into hot jars, into a hot canner, so you don't get any thermal shock. So I'm gonna go ahead and start filling the jars, and we'll get them going in the canner. Getting a paper towel ready with vinegar to wipe the rims, especially with this funnel. I love it because it covers the rim, but especially anytime that you're using any greasy or sticky, like sugary product to fill, you've got to make sure that you clean your rims with vinegar. Now, some of the guidelines for canning have changed recently to where you don't have to boil your stuff ahead of time. They have tested and decided that it is safe. Basically, it sterilizes enough in the canner in the processing time. Just gonna shift stuff here to make this easier. So I did 1 scoop that was mostly solids and then 1 scoop that was liquids to try to make sure that, so like a normal scoop of stuff, let it drain to get most of the thick stuff in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see as it drops in. And then I go a scoop of more just liquid.
So it's a little soupier.
And as you clean the tops, it's also a great time to feel if there are any chips or anything like that. I'm using brand new jars today, so there shouldn't be. Something you need to check for. And then you screw on your lids just finger tight, so you don't need to He-Man it. I snug it down, and then I do one last tighten it down. So at this point, it's just filling the jars and getting them ready to go. Okay, we're gonna put our lid on, lock it. We've inserted our jars. Now it's starting to warm it.
Push the play button.
Yep. Okay, so it is now 7:30. These have been done. They're fully cooled. All of our jars sealed. We had kind of a busy day with family stuff. Went and visited his dad and had a birthday party for one of our grandsons. So this just kind of got done in the background as we had time. So we didn't get a lot of footage while it was processing or when it came out, because it was literally grab the stuff out and run. But that's one of the great things about having equipment like this electric pressure canner, is that once I got it the cycle to where it was processing, it's pretty hands off at that point. It does the whole thing. And so that makes it super easy.
One of the best Mother's Day presents I ever did.
So a couple of things that we learned. The texture came out beautiful. We're going to get some close-ups of that for you. Color looks great. We have leftovers.
Yeah, we should have made it soupier.
Even thinner than we did.
To be able to get the rest. It's great consistency for eating right now or for freezing.
Fluid.
But I added another can of tomatoes. But if we wanted to bottle all of it, we would have definitely had to add some more liquid to it. So if it looks too soupy, just remember those beans are going to soak up a lot of that moisture in the canning process. So
which we read, but it's still hard when you're making it. You don't want it to be like total water, but
yeah, so that's something we learned, was that we're going to have to add more water, broth, something to it for the next time. But it looks awesome. It tastes really good too.
And so we've got 6 jars that we're going to take up to him that he can enjoy at his
leisure.
Yeah, he also enjoys my salsa. So we grabbed a jar of that out of the food storage room for him. And then we're taking him another jar of the broth, the bone broth that we made, which is also in the chili. He can use that
for soups and things. It'll just help aid in his healing.
Mm-hmm.
Another skill that we learned, prepping isn't just always about gathering stuff, getting all this food or gear. It's about action.
Although certain gear is great.
Yeah, it's great to have expensive gear if you can afford that canner. That is, and you do can. Even if you don't can, but you're thinking about canning, that canner is a great thing to buy off the bat. And then maybe get the American canner later on or something,
which we still don't even have. But
because that takes the guessing out of it. So it's way easy for someone who's kind of new to canning.
If you can use an Instant Pot, you can use this canner.
Yeah, so that is an expensive piece of gear. Not too bad. It's about $350-ish, I think is what I paid for it. Worth it for your food preservation. I can't say the word. It's just an addition to it to make your life a little easier, especially if you're older. That's one of the things with her health is, that's why I got it for her, so be able to continue to do this.
So if you guys have been scared to try pressure canning, don't be scared of it. If you do pressure can, what's your favorite thing to put on the shelf?
And what should we try next that we haven't tried before? Because this was new to us and I think it's a winner. So
let us know in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're really trying to grow this channel and your support really helps. We'll catch you next time.